Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Timisha, your codepreneur, as well as your spiritual growth coach, keeping it raw, real, and relatable here on YouTube, wearing all the hats and doing all the things and showing you how to do it as well. So in today's video, I really want to talk about the confusion and the burnt out that comes along with being a healthcare practitioner and what you can do to relieve that burnt out, what you can do to advance yourself, and what you can do to just open up a new horizon and really get away from feeling so bogged down by stress and just allowing so many things to impact your mind as you're working in this field of healthcare. Now, you might not be a person that's working in healthcare, you might be in a different field, but burnt out is burnt out. So in this video, I wanted to give you a couple of tips on what you can do to help you relieve burnout and also evolve. First thing you want to do, and this really should take precedent over everything, but it's often overlooked and we tend to miss it quite a bit, is self-care, right? We need to take care of ourselves. We need to eat right, healthy diet, get adequate sleep, do the things that we enjoy, do our hobbies, right? Really spend time removing ourselves from our work and jumping into the things that we love and we care about. For me, is being with my family. So if I'm feeling burnt out when I get home from work, when I was working in the clinic, what I would do is just spend time with my kids. Now I have two. But just spending time with my family or sitting down and watching a movie or going out to a nice dinner. Really, it's all about removing yourself from work. The second thing that I would advise is this. Set boundaries. Give yourself time to disconnect and recharge yourself, right? So set boundaries. I know with certain jobs, it might be hard to not have to answer emails, but you need to set boundaries. If your work hours are from 9 to 5, then that is your work hours. Of course, I know certain situations might be a little different for some people, but for the most part, if you're not setting boundaries, then that's going to allow people to cross over it, right? So it's very important that you set boundaries, that you don't take work home. So for example, and I know this is not something you can really do now, but before as therapists, let's say you have a, 8 to 4:30 day, for example. I would be wrapping up, leaving work at 4:30, and there'll still be therapists sitting there saying, oh, I'm not done yet. I'm going to be here for another half an hour finishing my notes. And I was just like, you can only do what you can do. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish my notes in the morning and that's it. Usually I really worked hard on time management to make sure I got my notes done in the times that I was allotted, but things happen, right? So really it's just setting those boundaries for people and for yourself. The third thing is really practice mindfulness, really taking time to just reflect, taking time in prayer, taking time in meditation, just simply deep breathing, right? Having like what in the movie they say a woo-saw moment. I think that was in like Bad Boys or something like Bad Boys. There was like woo-saw.
Exercise.
Holla at your boy.
Woosah. Woosah.
21,000.
Just taking that moment to just breathe and reflect on what you're doing and what you're allowing to impact your heart and impact your life. I was talking to my son and he was getting upset and he looked over at his baby sister and he's like, how come Nala is smiling? How come Nala is laughing? That's my daughter's name, Nala. And I'm like, well, son, she chooses to be happy. And again, our emotions will drive us crazy unless we choose to put it in check. We choose to separate ourselves, recharge our batteries, set boundaries, and just be mindful of the input we're allowing into our lives, allowing into our hearts. The next thing is delegate. Sometimes you just have to delegate work and stop trying to be a superwoman or a superman and trying to do everything, right? I was like, I would call myself the super therapist because when I first started, I was trying to lift everyone and transfer everyone and do everything because I was so eager to learn and I was like, go, go, go. But I realized that I had to slow down because if I didn't slow down, I was going to burn myself out. And what started happening is because I created this go, go, go energy. Nursing, even on my lunch break, will call me to transfer somebody, or they will call and interrupt me during my lunch and say, hey, can you help me? And just me being the kind of person I was, I would, stop my lunch, I would stop eating, and I would get up and I would go help them. And I would be, in the patient's room. And before I know it, my lunch is over. I didn't get to eat, and I have to get right back to work. And now I'm running late on my time. And it just became a mess. And that's why I mentioned previously on the importance of setting boundaries. And by doing that, that is causing burnout, right? So maybe you can relate. Maybe this has happened to you before, but you really need to delegate. You really need to say, okay, this is what I can offer you, and this is what I can do. And let it be that and be okay with that. And if people can help you, allow them to help you, right? This is, again, going back to occupational therapy, it's important that when you are training your patients, you're not just training your patients, but you're also educating the nursing staff that take care of them. Okay. Because when they tried to do what they did to me and say, hey, Timisha, can you come and help? It's not bad to help, but you need to let them know, well, training was done. So you really need to go and speak to the nurse because training was done. So it's like delegating that information and saying, you know what, I need to set this boundary. And, for yourself, to protect yourself. So the next thing is, and this is a big one, you need to learn to say no, right? If there's an ethical issue, if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, if you feel like something is not happening right, you need to exercise your no. And I say this for myself too, exercise your no. And that is not just externally, but it's also internally. For me, exercising my no has been so important for my mental health and my sanity, just to say, you know what? No, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. No, I'm sorry, I cannot help you. No, not at this time, right? Exercise your no. Next thing, you may simply need a change of environment, right? Maybe the job that you're doing is just not meant for you anymore, and you need to evolve and you need to change, right? So I know when we hear the word change, it really creates like this negative feeling and emotion, but change is good, guys, and change brings growth. And in this channel, you're going to see so much changes. I've been through so much changes from just being a mom of one, now a mom of two, and building my coaching course. That's like a tongue twister. Building my course coaching program. And you guys get to see me do that. You get to see my struggles. You get to see my input, what works, what doesn't work. Just allowing growth to happen. So sometimes you just simply need to change your job and change your environment. And lastly, to help prevent burnout, you most likely have outgrown that particular thing you may be doing. And this happened to me. If you feel like you're going to work and you're like, I hate being here, you're dreading just a drive there, you are finding yourself getting irritable quickly, you are going through a whole bunch of emotions, you might be happy, then you're sad, and then you're irritated, and then if you just feel like all of that is creating an overwhelm and now it's affecting you physically, maybe it's affecting your health, you may need to start thinking about what you're doing and start enhancing your skills. For me, when I became a coder, I knew from the beginning that I did not want to stay a coder. some people that might be great. You might be okay with just going to work and seeing your patients, doing your documentation, and going home, clocking out, and doing it all over again. That's fine. I did it for a while. That's totally fine. But for me, I always found that I had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I always was trying to find and discover what is new, what is fresh. Now, that could be detrimental when you're constantly like jumping around trying to do different things. But for me, I just knew in my heart that I've always wanted to have a coaching business. I knew in my heart I always wanted to help my peers to evolve, to get better. So you may just simply need to enhance your skill. That might look like going back to school. That might look like getting a new certification. That might look like doing some training, taking some courses. That might just simply look like starting a business for yourself. So I hope that this information has been impactful. I hope that this information it has been valuable with just helping you overcome the stressors of burnout. So if you like video like this, definitely go ahead, leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure you come again for the next video. All right, guys, take care and bye-bye.